Hi, my name's Georgina and I'm the founder of Archeus. This is an adaptation from a talk I gave at the Creative HB Pecha Kucha night on the 18th of August. It's called What Going Away Taught Me About Coming Back, and I've put this up because I thought that it would help give a little more insight into me and my motivation for setting up Archeus. Like many Hawke's Bay kids, I just couldn't get out of here fast enough, and I took off overseas when I was 18. It took 25 years before I'd make the decision to return, not just to New Zealand, but right here to Hawke's Bay, and I now live in an area called Pariety. One of the most important things I learned while away is, aren't we so lucky to call this region our home? I mean, look, it's fantastic. We've got Ocean Beach and the Kawekas, sleeping giants and epic sunrises. We've got farmers markets and the good old A&P show. We've got tuis, bellbirds, and keruru in our gardens. I grew up on a farm in Rokawa, which is south of Hastings, and I was 8 when we arrived here from England, and I tell you what, there's something about this land. Its energy, it's visceral and electric. As an only child, I really dug myself deep into those Rokawa hills. I was the land, and the land was me. And the bush and the power sites at the back of the farm became my refuge. Even then, I knew that nature was a powerful healer. The area of Rokawa is named after a native tree and has important history, but no Rokawa trees have stood there for a very long time. And there was a really old kowhai tree on the farm, but sadly most of them had gone years ago as well. Some people, they know exactly where home is. I had this choice, England or New Zealand, and it was the source of some confusion for me many times. So I went to Australia, and there I learnt the joy of anonymity and invention. And I've got family connections in Albania, and I've been there many, many times. And this taught me that people love it when you make the effort to speak their language and listen to their stories. Working in Ethiopia, well, that showed me that I learned there that the locals of the Kaffa region think the best thing to do when faced with a lion is crouch on the ground, put grass over your head, and pray. And England. Well, England showed me I was from there, but somehow I no longer really belonged there. Einstein once said, "Look deep into nature and you'll understand everything better." And the nature that my mind's eye disappeared into was the one I grew up with here in Hawke's Bay. Over there and over time came career. In London, I ran a cultural communications agency for a number of years, but I gradually moved towards environmental issues because I wanted to be part of giving nature a voice to speak out against the injustices we wreak upon her, and to tell of the joy and benefits of working with her. This really hit the big time for me in 2008, as that was when the United Nations invited me to work for them on a major study called TEEB that set out to make a case for the value of nature to our social, cultural, health, and economic well-being, quite simply to show that without nature we're nothing. Over the next few years we had to amass data, write this huge thing, and then relentlessly travel the globe seeking to influence governments and business to pick up our recommendations and implement them. And I found that doing this, my own desire, to reconnect directly to nature and work with her to build something that could walk the talk of the work we'd been doing, well, it really deepened. It became visceral. I also became aware that I actually wanted to do this back in New Zealand, in Hawke's Bay. It was then that I really knew where home was. Some people seem to have a belief that if they or someone else return to the place they started in, it's a sign of failure, that something must have gone wrong. This can make some of us feel we have to stay away in order to be seen as a success. And this makes me really sad because I think about how many people there may be who feel they can't come home for fear of the things that other people might say. Whenever I visited New Zealand, I'd always take a bottle or two of Elston Chardonnay back to Europe with me. This is because, like a gazillion years ago, I'd worked briefly on that block of grapes, and so I knew that a little bit of my sweat and my soul was in those vines. So I also felt that if I drank this wine, it would somehow connect me back into this land, like some beautiful communion of nature. I also guess that I must have been a bit of a slow learner. It took 25 years to teach me that to really live my truth, I needed to place myself back in this landscape. This epiphany happened at the moment my career over there was pumping. So it was one thing to realize I had to come back, and it was another to build the courage to act upon it. But here's the next thing I learned. When you start to recognize your life's purpose, the hard stuff, well, it can get just a little easier. So I'm back here in the countryside in Hawke's Bay. I'm building a business called Archeus that works with the healing power of plants. And this gives me the direct connection to nature that herb in me over there had really craved. And I've placed conservation right at the heart of the business because I believe that as nature provides, so we should give back. And I keep thinking, if this place is special enough to come back to, what can I do to help keep it that way? And I know that, like everywhere, Hawke's Bay will be nothing if we work against nature rather than with her. We have so much to be thankful for. So my way of saying thank you to this place and these hills is to help tell nature's stories, to work with her healing power to help people and animals. And for me to create conservation projects to help bring the raukaua and the kowhai back and thriving in this landscape once again. Going away has taught me that this is my way of living truthfully and thankfully. Hands in the soil. Tuis, bellbirds, and keruru are in my garden, telling me that I am home. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.